Right away, let's begin by dedicating the event to the Black Panther Party. August 18, 2020, the Black Panther Party, founded in 1966 in Oakland, California, by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, created to patrol African American neighbors to protect residents from acts of police brutality. Of course, that was just one of the things that they did. They also served free breakfast at St. Augustine's Church in Oakland. And the most famous of it, served the people community survival programs. By year's end, the Panthers were feeding over 10,000 children every day before school. Ruby will drop a link into the chat if you guys want to brush up on your history of the Black Panther Party. I also want to thank Sister Nolan because she let me know this morning that exactly 31 years ago, on February 11th, Nelson Mandela was released from prison. I wanted to say, yes,
I'm gonna go this way.
yes. Thank you so much. So here we go. I believe that Mr. Bennie Whitfield is ready, Miss Brenda.
Yes, ma'am, he is.
All right. I'm going to drop this off for just a moment because he wants me to start off with a little bit of music. Give me a second. Here we go. I know y'all remember this. Hear that? So here to give his reflections from 1968 with his experience with the Black Panther Party, I want to bring up Senior Advocate Bennie Whitfield, who's going to talk a little bit about how it was back then. All right, Bennie, you got the floor.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, come closer a little bit, sir.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. That was a great song, wasn't it? 1960s by James Brown. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Yeah, that was very good. And it also had a good beat, the music to it. You could dance to it. So I got three things out of that song when I was and I'm proud and I was black. I just had so much in my heart in that song, and also you could dance to it. So there were three things I got out of that song. Here in front of us, me on a motorcycle. That's me on the motorcycle, my club members in the back, and Captain Cleaver on the back of the motorcycle. So that was part in Black history. That was a Black Panther Party rally at DeFermi Park. I was not a Black Panther, but we supported the move. So yeah, we supported the move, and so that's what that picture's about. Black Panther Party. I guess there's more to be talked about by someone else. Now the picture on the left.
Yeah.
So anyway, here I go again. The picture in the center was me, Bennie, my dragon in the background, and Kathleen Cleaver. She was a spokesperson for the Black Panther Party. And so there she is on the left. The picture on the left is just an expression of the time. That big natural. That's what I'm looking at. That was a time when everybody thinking I'm black and I'm proud, and they were proud of it, and they were letting you know by by growing their hair out big natural hair. We call them naturals. So that's my presentation. That's my reflection on me. It's a bit part, but I love that period of time.
Yes. You were telling me yesterday how you used to be in a crowd of folks, and if you said, say it loud. Well,
I'm black and I'm proud.
Yes. Everybody said it.
You were the band leader. You were the instructor. All you had to do was walk up to a group of people in the neighborhood and say it loud, and there they go. I'm black and I'm proud. And they might throw the power sign. Black power.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is so true. Thank you for that. That's beautiful. Thank you.
That was good. Me too.
Yes, let's give it up for Bennie Whitfield. So it's my pleasure to talk about our next guest for a couple of minutes. I had the privilege of knowing this beautiful, wonderful founder and executive director, Barbara Howard, for many years. As you know, in 2020, we were hit really hard with the pandemic and we lost a lot of our beautiful events. One of them was Juneteenth that used to happen right out here at Brockhurst and San Pablo. We were not able to host it this year. But what happened next was something that was so amazing, laid upon the heart of Barbara Howard. I'm gonna let her tell the story. I just wanna let you know, and we're gonna put a link in the chat, that she has created a bucket of beautiful sacred storytelling videos of African-American youth, elders, women from all across all walks of life. I'm so proud of this collection of stories. And I'm gonna let Barbara talk about it for about a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, to hopefully turn you on to this. And I'm gonna ask you to do one thing before the end of the day. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and give it a little bit of support and share some of these videos. Barbara Howard, you here?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And it is my honor and pleasure to be here today. And I'm so grateful that we started off the song with James Brown, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, because that's how I move in this earth. I'm so grateful that allowed me to feel my dad's spirit here with me this morning. And I am so grateful to have had that inspiration this morning. So with the, I am the founder, the executive director of the BH Brilliant Minds Project, Inc. It is a program for the youth and young adults and their families. The focus areas are financial literacy, health and wellness, and empowerment. So I'll go back to the Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. Growing up in the Bayview District in San Francisco, we had a business in the city for over 40 odd years in the Bayview District, and it's Wendy's Cheesecake Bakery. So growing up in the bakery, my father always instilled in us is that our community and our people and other races are important, and never forget that, and know that their stories are important. So through my life, there was difficulties and challenges like everybody else. However, my call that I believe, it's about empowering and encouraging individuals to believe in themselves, trust in themselves, and know that they can make a difference in the world. And that's where I stamp my, hopefully, legacy on the world through BH Brilliant Minds and through the projects that we have done and are doing, because we do workshops. Once you go to the website, you'll see a little bit more about us. But let me go to how the Juneteenth 196 came about. Of course, as Miss Janie has said, I love her. I appreciate her. I'm so grateful and thankful to St. Mary's and to our community over there. We couldn't have had that happen if it wasn't for people in the community and Mr. Scott saying it's okay to do. So, and our seniors and the community. So I was like, oh my God, we can't do Juneteenth this year. So I felt a little kind of down, but I do know that my assignments that is given to me from the Lord for my call in my life, he's just said, be still and let me talk to you. So with that, and my ancestors, most importantly, is that they speak to me. Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman, those are the women that talk to my spirit. So I was sitting one day and they were like, well, you could still do it, do the Juneteenth. And I'm like, okay, how are we going to do this? And he said, how about this? How about having the event, but you do it virtually? And we were thankful that the Wind Rose Fund of the Common Council Foundation gave us some funds to be able to do a project. So for the Juneteenth celebration. And what I end up doing is the spirits was talking to me, and they said, what about honoring Juneteenth, but however, again, through virtual celebration? And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. And I thought about, okay, well, what would be the name? And then what I end up doing the thought came to mind was, how about honoring Juneteenth from June 19th to December the 31st? That's 196 days. And it will be a special edition for what's going on in the world. We want to make sure that our community was safe and that we still have the opportunity to give something of value to our community. And that's how we came up with the Juneteenth 196. And these stories that you see are individuals in our community that's making a difference. And it was my pleasure and honor to make sure that I hold up not only myself, my family, my friends, but the community, the leaders that's in the actual community, and our families that's in the actual communities, that how are we as the Black Panther Party have stamped their signatures on the world. And I'm hoping and praying that Juneteenth is that legacy that I am going to continue to hopefully move forward and keep it going. So again, I am and on our t-shirts at the end of our celebration, we do say it loud, and I'm Black and I'm proud. So I'm honored. I am so honored to be with you all today. Thank you.
Yes. So please visit this website. Please visit this YouTube page, subscribe and like, and tell your story in any way that you can.
Oh, yes.
Miss B, you're such a blessing.
And I'll interview you if you want. Look, I'll be honored to.
Can you put your contact information in the chat when you get a moment so people
yes, ma'am. I did put the my information, but I will put my email address and my telephone number. It should be on there on the flyer, but I'll do it again.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. All right.
My honor.
Yes. All right. Oh my goodness. Here we go. This is our first performance for today. I am very happy to bring up to the Zoom line Oakland Public Conservatory of Music, Lady Azure McCall. Let me tell you a little bit about this incredible artist. Azure McCall is Hawaii's first lady of jazz, is a multi-award-winning vocalist. She is heir to the vocal tradition of Sarah Vaughan, Carmen McRae, and Ella Fitzgerald. Her warmth and sense of humor fuel every interpretation. After releasing her first CD, Body and Soul, she was asked by the great bassist, once married to Ella Fitzgerald, to be his vocalist on tour. Of course she accepted, and it began an incredible jazz journey. Next, Lady McCall worked with Frank Morgan, Tennessee Stevens, Joe Lozano, Geoff Keezer, Curtis Lundy, and many, many more greats. In 2008, President Barack Obama asked her to perform at his pre-election party. That's why he won, she says. Azure became the jazz diva for Celebrity and Royal Caribbean cruises. She has traveled to more than 50 countries. Azure is excited to return home to her place of birth, Berkeley, California. She is excited about giving back to her Oakland and Berkeley community, teaching at the Oakland Public Conservatory of Music and the California Jazz Conservatory in Berkeley. I am so excited about sharing this beautiful artist with the community. Thank you so much. And here we go. Miss Azure.
Hi there. How much time do I have?
About 15 minutes, dear.
Oh, that much. Okay, good. Then I think I'll just start with, I bet everybody knows this. Everybody know that song? Some of you probably know Deep Purple or Stardust. With some of the first songs that I learned. I was born in Berkeley, and pardon me, when I was born, I was living on 8th and Kirkham Court, downtown in Oakland, in West Oakland, and my daddy played piano at Esther's Orbit Room. And so I'm straight up community based here in the Bay Area. I grew up under his influence. He played a lot like Art Tatum on the piano. So most of my life growing up, our popular music, of course, was like, the Three Sounds, Gene Harris, and all those guys back in the day. So I grew up listening to a lot of instrumental music. My mother was a big influence. She took me to all the musical events. I went to Longfellow Elementary, and then I went to Westlake, and I graduated from Tech. But when I was at Westlake, my 7th grade teacher was named Miss Bennie Jean Gillette. And Anita Pointer was in my class, and Ted Lange, and we all talk about that today, how much influence. She was 6'2", Black, gorgeous, beautiful. She was an opera singer and a diva, sang all over Germany. Wow. So I was really lucky to have her as my influence from 7th grade. In those years, I started playing accordion, threw that away. I started playing violin. And when I went to Tech, I started doing voice. Then I went to Sherman and Clay. I don't know if you guys remember Sherman and Clay, but I took organ and piano from there as a little girl. It was right by Sears and Roebuck. I bet somebody knows where that is.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and so as I grew up, I started listening, of course, to Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, Carmen McRae, Dakota Staten, Dinah Washington, those girls. I found, though, that Sarah Vaughan and I had probably the same register. So she became my idol. During those years, I think you remember Stanley Turrentine came out with the song Sugar. You guys remember Sugar? Maybe not. Anyway, that became my rehearsal song. I recorded it. The sugar drips from my man's lips. The sugar is mine. You bet you're alive. A sweet man like this would be hard to find. He picks me up. He makes me feel fine. He makes me think twice about paradise and sugar and spice and everything nice. He's sugar to me. So that became one of my tunes. Thank you. That's a great little song. So anyway, I grew up through all those influences. And then in 1972, I moved to Hawaii. I was married with 2 little children. And I started singing jazz there. Everybody in Hawaii seemed that everybody did music. Everybody did music. So it was very comfortable and easy for me. But the racism was still around. So that comes back to the plight of being a Black woman in the music business. It can be pretty amazing and pretty awful, but if you keep going and you keep striving, you can reach your goals. And that's what I've done. I put out a CD, Straight to Dat, alive. Took my trio into a studio and we just recorded. And Ray Brown heard it. He was married to Ella Fitzgerald, bass player with Ella Fitzgerald. And he took me on a tour throughout Japan for almost 2 months with some great piano players that are great right now. A piano player named Jeff Keyser. Our drummer was Kareem Riggins. And of course, Ray Brown on bass. Also, we had Sue Rainey there, Conti Condoli, Nicholas Payton, and Joe Lovano. These are all super greats now. I was really blessed to be able to perform with them. After that tour, I came back to Hawaii. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Every night, Ray would ask me to sing another A section, which would be like, night and day, you are the one. Only you beneath the moon, under the sun. whether near to me or far. Doesn't matter, darling, where you are, I think of you night and day. So he'd say, sing that again. But he'd say, do another A section because he wanted me to scat it. He wanted me to bubble, 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 shouldn't thee, shabooby, do, shaboo, day, shabooby, bubble, shouldn't thee, bubble, way, do, label, shade, label, do, babe, bubble, double, double, bubble, shouldn't thee, do, day. But I refused vehemently because his wife was Ella Fitzgerald. So every night, for almost a month and a half, Ray would say, baby, do another A section. And I would sing again, night and day, you are the one, only you, beneath the moon, under the sun, etc., etc. Then he'd say, hit it again, baby. And I'd go, night and day, you are the one, only you. But I knew in my spirit, he wanted me to scat, but I was too intimidated to scat. So when I got back to Hawaii, I chose a song by Eddie Jefferson, written by the great Ray Noble, called Cherokee. And I think you guys know that. Brave Indian warrior, since first I met you, I can't forget you, Cherokee sweetheart. Well, Eddie Jefferson took Charlie Parker's solo and wrote lyrics to it and changed it to Harold's House of Jazz, which, to define correctly, he just took the solo and put lyrics on top of each note. And it turned into, listen to that bebop music, grooving me out, moving me out every night to this little club on M Street. The band is close enough to touch and match your tables, people, what a report. Walk downstairs, etc., etc. So I was teaching 5th grade. I wanted to learn this song very bad. So I figured the best way for me to learn it is to teach it to my 5th grade students. So I started teaching in the beat. Which is a solo. Then they go. The band is close enough to touch and bet your paper. People want to report or anyway, that's how I was dissecting it into my mind. So as I taught the babies, I learned the song, and with my band and Eddie Jefferson's tempo, which was, listen to that bebop music, grooving me out, moving me out. I subtracted the lyrics and started scatting it. Shap pop dee did did bop doo boo 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 dee bop shoo boo 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 she boo bay shabba doo lee boo she doo lee doo boo jay boo lee boo bay. So as we kept progressing with my band, I started doing faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And that's how I learned how to scat. So that's how I got into this business. And that's how I got into teaching and loving to see these children. Lights come on when they've learned something that they thought was so hard. Now, a lot of my students are 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s that have grown up with in a life that said, oh, you can't sing, you can't do a living, make a living doing this. Your voice is horrible. Get a job, take care of your children. Now they're free. And I have a lot of students that are seniors that want to sing and are doing wonderfully. And one of my main things I want to leave you guys with is, whatever you want to do in life, remember, nobody can control your giving. Nobody can choreograph what you give or how much you give and when you want to give it and how you're going to give it. And that's
Azure, this is Angela. Will you sing one complete song for us, please?
Okay.
Just one.
Okay. Mm, mm, mm. Beside me in the midnight glow, the lamp is low. Dream and let the music come and go. The lamp is low. While I linger in your arms, my lips will sigh, I love you so. Dream beside me in the midnight glow. Tonight the moon is high, the lamp is low.
Aha.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So much.
That's perfect because it's almost Happy Valentine's Day, so you just gave us a special card.
Oh, let me give you one little tip. I bet you don't know this.
Okay.
Behold the way our fine feathered friend his virtue doth parade. Thou knowest not, my dim-witted friend, the future thou hast made. Thy vacant brow and thy noble chin conceal thy good intent. Thou noble, upright, truthful, sincere, but slightly dopey gent, you're my funny Valentine. Anyway, that's the verse to that.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Blessings. Everybody just do what you can to show her love. In that, you'll find links to her CD. We found a YouTube video if you want to hear more. Thank you for the story, too, the history and the life. Thank you so much. And thank you, Madam Angela Wellman, for jumping in a little something. I'm so excited. So let me tell you what's happening next. We have from the downtown Oakland, Frank Ogawa Plaza, we're going to bring up Cardboard and Concrete Artist Collective, who is going to grace us with some history and some artwork done right on the spot. The intention of the collective is to display and advertise the humanity, skills, and genius of the unhoused, to celebrate our existence using cultural symbolism, sacred forms, multimedia and multidiscipline social icons and perceptions, and to reinforce positive thoughts and ideas of society's duty to humanity and vice versa. I'm going to bring up Nita B, who is going to share the art portion of our event today. Nita, you ready, love? Here we go. Hi, Yacht. We need sound, dear. Uh-oh.
Oh, unmute Nita B, not the village.
Oh, unmute Nita B, not the village, Ruby.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nita. We have a few members of our collective here today. Ayat behind and Jessica, who's also painting. There is another participant, and it says the village. And if you, Jessica, put your camera on.
Oh, look. Okay, Nita, I can't hear you.
Can you hear
go
me?
ahead. Yes.
All right, so we're gonna have this wide screen camera, and then for the village, there's a small screen camera that shows a close-up of the mural being made behind me. But without further ado, 4 of our members are here, and we create a little something to celebrate Black History Month, and in particular, the Black Panther Party. So I will step off the stage for a second.
Blessings. Look, I'm going to start off the day by giving thanks to the ancestors for those who are among us, those our elders who are alive, for the ancestors who are past, who are gone, respect and blessings. Today we give thanks also to breath, man, for living, for continuation of Black people who are oppressed and have been plagued around the world, starting with the caste system in India and continuing most wholeheartedly right here in America. Right now, I'd like to briefly introduce myself as Ayat Jalal. I am many things. I'm a human, I'm a brother, I'm a Black man. I'm a Seminole by way of Florida, Black Seminole. My family, my bloodline come here by way of the Moorish people, by way of Ireland. I myself, the branch came from Bantu, from the house of Bantu, Mandinka, Hausa, Nubia, Fulani, who left out to try to civilize those in the world who had less knowledge than other civilizations. Indian, I'm going across, going through Ireland, where people are still called Black Irish. Also, Indian here in America with the Seminoles in Florida, where we fought. People don't know about the Black Seminoles. There used to be no reason to say Black Seminoles because Seminole meant Seminole, which meant runaway calf. It was those who had ran away. It was the Yamasee, it was the Lower Creek Indians who were called Creek, even though it was many different bands among them. Also with the Estelusty, the freedmen, after the Queen Anne's War in the 1400s, in the 1500s, we began push down south to get away from slavery. My family literally fought a war for 17 years in the swamps of Florida. And when people, this is a Negro war, when you look it up and you research it, General Jefferson Jackson himself called it a Negro war. So our resistance go long. A lot of people don't understand that slave trade, there was actually literally, I don't know, there were many of us here, the slave trade actually went towards the east first as they drained the Brazilian population, which was indigo, as the world was. Now we use the term Black. We were all indigo. We were all of darker system, of a darker thing. Also, that going with that Blackness, it wasn't about color. That was our culture. Our culture was to take care of the earth. It took care of us, to take care of each other, if nothing else, there's still old principle my father taught me from the Moors, like, you leave people, places, and things better off than how you found them. And yeah, whoa, and I say to my dad, he's actually a Panther. And he passed in arms. I carried on his legacy with the Black Seminole tribe in Florida. We now hold jurisdiction over our tribal lands where the Second Seminole War took place. A Black establishment, a Black settlement where the Second Seminole War took place on the homeland, but the Seminole tribe that was given right and given a casino in Florida don't recognize their Blackness, or and I can't remove my Blackness to be a part of them. So that's how that happens. I like to let you know that our culture is to love and take care of our elders. This culture of money, of dog eat dog. This was never it. We come from a culture of Ubuntu, of taking care of one another. Another Panther Cub I ran into, Rifa, who's an artist in the Bay Area, definitely in Oakland, who's a Panther Cub. He has beautiful pieces. You can look him up. I tend to look him up, just ran into him. He was expressing to me when he went to Florida and he had a fruit roll up and he was working on his art piece and he saw this kid just saw the fruit roll up. And he said he was waiting for it. He wanted it. And he stayed there like real patient, just waiting for him. And we had lunchtime and he broke out the fruit roll up. He said he gave it to the kid and he was worried because all these kids came running up. And he said, what is it? My bad, because this is juice, man. We're adults and we can't act this grown. And here in America, the kids actually took his thumb and broke 8 pieces off over and over and over again. And we can't do that because we've lost culture here in America due to the, first off, because caste system that took us away from one another, and then to the monetary system that allowed us to give, to replace allowed money to replace our worth to one another. And culturally, that's something that we have to reestablish among ourselves. We can't leave it up to any system or government to give it to us. And we've lost the will to do it for ourselves. And that's why we have to listen to protesters and gain encouragement, because we all know the truth. It hurts and it's hard sometimes to stand up. But we out here.
All right.
I want to thank and continuing with the resilience. I'm a Panther Cub. My father helped found Black KPO radio in the city, which still stands. People's Radio. Who was the brother, the artist, Reefer. He's also a Panther Cub. And today I just want to give thanks, because it was a generation. It wasn't just the individuals like Huey P. Newton like this, that's you right there. The elders, the those who stand among the senior citizens, that wasn't our generation. That was a generation of those some of are still among us, their legacy still alive. The 10-point system goes around the world, where we've seen struggle of all people and the resilience of for human rights. They've drawn from the 10-point system of the Black Panthers, and that started here. And you can say it's Oakland, you can say it's the Black people, I say it's resilience, and it's the insistence upon something more than a monetary system within our world, to take over or to tell us how, we should exist within, how should we use our free will, in a God-given world, and that resilience continues, blessed be.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. As you note, the village is also sharing with us the art that is being created right in front of your eyes. Nita, you coming back?
Yeah. Oh, you don't remember me?
Yeah, I remember you.
Remember when we first met 30,000 years ago, when the Twa left Southern Africa and crossed oceans and seas to spread throughout the world? I remember when you landed in a land that was later called Ireland. Your hair turned red over time in your new environment, but the curls, the melanated complexion, and the fierce warrior ways lasted for centuries. As you fought off waves of invasions of the Vandals, the Goths, the Normans, the Vikings, and finally the British. They called you Druids. And after 200,000 Twa were massacred, you became a fairy tale in their history books called leprechauns. Yeah, I remember. And do you remember when the Bantu and the Twi left Southern Africa and you landed in the clusters of islands? And the Indians called the islands Maharlikita. The Chinese called the islands Ma'ai. The Bernese called the islands Manola. The Javanese called the islands Barosai. You established tribes across 7,100 islands that eventually the Spanish called the Philippines. I remember when you eat mangoes off the pink beaches of Katubig, or how you built the 8th wonder of the world in the mountains of the Ifugao, or how you would dance and sing and make art in the jungles of Maharlikita. You called yourself Aita, Agata, Igorot. The Spanish called you Negritos. The Americans called you the Blacks of Asia. I remember you. I remember when we met under the Bodhi tree, when Siddhartha gained enlightenment, glorious with his Bantu knotted crown and stretched earlobes. 5 centuries before Jesus Christ was born, Black Buddha was teaching and preaching about love, fraternity, equality, liberty, and the correct way to live. I remember when you were reincarnated 500 years later as Jesus to continue your teachings. Your words were so powerful that Europeans changed both your images to remove any presence of Africa. But I remember. Remember when you crossed the Fertile Crescent and made your way to Japan and China? And when the Black King Tang created the Shang dynasty, it was China's first dynasty. And the rest of Asia called the dynasty Nakai, meaning those of the black skin. Remember how the Shang created those elaborate tombs in China and made the Great Wall of China? More Black dynasties followed. The Tehu, the Manchu, the Shao, the Xia. They try to make us forget, but I remember. Remember when the African Lin Min created Chinese calligraphy and it spread all over Asia? And do you remember the Chinese cultural hero Yao? He was an African too, and he created an African system for farming that covered all over China. And the first Chinese emperor Fu, he was an African. His family and his rule established government, a system of prophesizing called the I Ching, and the Earth Mound pyramids that have almost been forgotten. Remember when you traveled from sub-Saharan Africa 22,000 years ago and became the Ainu people of Japan? Remember when you traveled again in the 1500s as seamen and servants and even slaves into Japan? And one of your children became the greatest samurai warrior ever known in history, known as Yasuke. And another one of your children, Sakayo no Tatarumaro, became Japanese first shogun warrior. He was African. Remember how he was hailed and called the powerful Black general of Japan? And after him, a legacy of Black shogun emerged. Remember the ancient Japanese proverb, for a samurai or a shogun to be brave, he has to have a bit of African blood. I remember. Remember when you reached Cambodia and you were called the Khmers? You brought agriculture, engineering, art, business, warriorship, irrigation, and hydraulics. You even began the creation of man-made lakes. The largest and most powerful ancient empire of Cambodia was the black-skinned, frizzy-haired Angkor Empire, an empire of blacks. Remember 2 millennia ago when you created the nation of Champa? It's now known as Vietnam. The Chinese called you the Lin Yi, which means the land of the black men. You created a beautiful aesthetic that elevated blackness as the most beautiful complexion in the world across all of the known world. All the other kingdoms and empires of that region shared your love of blackness. Remember when the Europeans got to America? You were here too. You came more than 100,000 years ago from the North and West Africa, trading and doing business with the indigenous of these lands. After you settled in this hemisphere, you called yourself the Olmecs in Mexico. You were known as the Diaranate in Panama, the Choco in Colombia, the Garifuna or the Califunami of the Caribbean. In North America, you called yourselves the Nagaraset, the Pequot, the Wampanoag, the Shinnecock, the Seminole, Creek, and Cherokee. You brought your art, your language, your religion, your pyramids, your astrology, your food, your agriculture to these lands. I remember the white supremacy wants all of us to forget. The fear, the hate, the jealousy of all things black has consumed this world. It has erased black history. It has made the Buddha and Jesus white. It has made us believe that Europeans discovered the Americas. It has taught us that science, language, arts, government, religion all came from Europe. But I remember, while Europe was suffering through the dark ages, the rest of the world was civilized and thriving in blackness. Black is beautiful. Black is bountiful. Black is history. Black is humanity. Black is science. Black is arts. Black is civilization. Black is everything. Remember?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is beautiful. I see the painting that is being created. Can you see behind them? It's amazing. Thank you, Nita. Thank you so much. So there is plenty of information in the chat that's coming up about this group. Here's our last presenter now. Hello.
Speaking of memories, I remember when I first got into gardening and growing food started to become important to me. I started to make the links between revolution and food security. And whenever I brought up food justice or food security, it undoubtedly left some mark on people, and people knew that I felt strongly about it. And they said, well, why don't you research about the Black Panthers? And so without looking into the history too much, I started to form this idea of who these heroes were that were simultaneously fighting off the police, the government, and saving the earth. Recently, in the last couple of days, I've been looking up on the internet stories about the food program that Black Panthers were and that they were involved in. And the internet kind of gives a story about how the free breakfast program was the extent of it, and how 20,000 bags each with a chicken. That was the headline, of the internet, a lot of the internet articles. And so, I'm thankful today that for oral history, because if I had learned about the Black Panthers on the internet, probably would have not been inspired nearly as much as if I learned it through friends. See, the Panthers knew that education means nothing if you're starving. So shortly after they were founded, I'm sure this is not new information, but they made it their job to feed thousands of kids so that those kids could grow up and become educated. So I'm inspired to continue that legacy by planting fruit trees and urban agriculture, knowing that even though the type of malnutrition has changed, there's not a shortage of calories. And maybe it's not a chicken in every bag that we need now, because maybe a chicken in every bag is the problem. the legacy of the Panthers is still strong. Well, we're not starving from calories now. We've got plenty of calories. We're starving from a lack of vitamins. So I think that everyone that is in the food movement, everyone who's in the social justice movement owes a lot to people who stood up. I think empowerment is the key thing to be inspired by. And where does our power come from? It comes from our conviction of our beliefs and from food. That's real power. Power to the people.
All power
Thank
to
you.
all people.
All power to all people.
All right, so
I think we're almost out of time, Nita.
we are almost out of time. I'm
Yeah.
going to, let's see, sorry. We pulled out a couple of
Mhm.
videos to share about, whoops, where is that? So we pulled out a couple of videos on YouTube that we'd like to share with you guys. It's not letting me go here.
I think we have time for one, Nita, and then we'll post the rest in the chat.
Okay, so I'll just
you.
share with what's posted up right now. This is Reefer One. He's also a Panther Cub. That's who Ayat was speaking about. In the other videos you guys are going to be watching that'll be posted are Emory Douglas, who was the revolutionary artist behind the Black Panther Party. His images were all over posters, flyers, in the newspaper. And Ayodele Nzinga, who's also a Pan-Africanist who is holding down the lower bottom players, and formerly Flight Threat that just closed down in downtown Oakland. But she is an actress, a thespian, and she is holding the space for Black theater to be here in Oakland, and West Oakland specifically. And then YGB, Gifted in Black, who are definitely influenced by the Black Power movement, though they're babies, they're children. But this is Reefer One. He told me yesterday when I ran into him that he would not have existed and been doing what he's doing if it was not for Emory Douglas. Like I said, he's a Panther Cub himself. He was raised in the movement, continues to uphold and fight for the 10 principles. If you go up and down San Pablo, you will see his art all over San Pablo. Most of those murals you see of those empowering and powerful movements of Blackness, images of Blackness, that's him. He's all over West Oakland. His work is all over West Oakland. He is a legend, not just here in the West Coast for aerosol art, AKA graffiti art, but across the world. So without further ado, here's a Reefer One.
Got love, love, love. You better believe it.
Peace, family. Reefer One here from Aerosol and the Black Artists Guild, also a member of the Oakland Maroons. So I'm standing here today in front of a collective. Theme, understanding that African people from all So planting the seeds into the imagination of young people is critical to the work that we do. And featured on the wall, we have artists from Los Angeles, Oakland, West Oakland in particular, and West Africa. Our brother Mad Zo is here from Senegal, and we're working with other artists in the area to, connect, show our signs of unity within the culture of hip-hop style writing, and that's what you got going on here. We put the word home here, dealing with shelter, because as Pan-Africans, we understand that home is Africa. But when we as African people are thoroughly organized and our homeland is liberated, we understand that the planet will be home. The violent system of gentrification, which is just another term for colonization, has taken place at a higher level than it had before. And a lot of our brothers and sisters are out on the street. So we're creating a mural depicting some of our community brothers and sisters here in West Oakland. You see some of the housing. And over here, we're dealing with the term justice. In order for us to have peace and feel at home, We have to have justice. And the only way we're going to get justice is by organizing to get it. We have to take it. We have to demand it. And we have to understand the political ramifications around what it is when we don't versus when we do. And we are about to do. There's going to be images here depicting some of the rank and file brothers and sisters who were courageous enough to organize and stand in the gap for African people when they're in need, because they were shining examples to us right now about what it is to do when your people are in a crisis. So in this area, we're going to be creating some images around the Moms for Housing. There was significant organizing done in our community to bring that to the attention of the public and to the African community in particular, so that we understand that we cannot allow the state to harass, threaten, and terrorize our community, particularly our women and our children. It cannot be tolerated. If you'd like to support our efforts with transforming the visual landscape of the African community, you can support us at GoFundMe Black Panther Mural. All proceeds go to Aerosol to help us transform the visual landscape to make it conducive for healthy growth for African people. All power to the people.
So thank you guys. Did you want to close out with anything before we leave? Did you want to close out with anything? We're about to be done.
We're done? It was time?
Yeah, you can find.
Okay. All right. No, I just want to give thanks once again to everybody for listening. As far as interesting part of history, I just wanted you to know, go look for it. Go look for it. Respect all cultures, and let's learn each other anew. All right. Blessings.
Thank you.
To his mama.
Yeah.
She started the food program. The lunch program was started by his mom.
Yeah, it didn't get like capitalized upon, but in Frisco, my mom used to bake bread. You know, she was herself being a Blackfoot woman. She and my dad being Seminole Moore, she kind of used to bake bread. Used to always chill with her and her two friends. Mariam and Gina and Jeannie. So she got to a while. The brothers would come by to get dad, or dad would arrange meetings before they went out to do whatever. And she got tired of only seeing the dudes and asked where was the kids, where were the wives, and told them to come on over. And after a while, some of the wives kind of didn't come over, so she started just feeding all the kids that did come and started letting them know, send your kids over here to come get breakfast. And then it exploded. Beautiful. So blessed be. And that's what's important, coming back to breaking bread and sharing Ubuntu, that what a child knows in Africa, an adult can't understand in America. And it's ridiculous.
Thank you. You just showed me a mural that I live like 2 blocks from. So I've been watching that go up. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Rifa's painting right now on 30th and San Pablo. So
yes.
If you guys want to come check him out, just drop by. You'll see him and his youngsters out there putting a piece up. But he's all over San Pablo right now.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the indulgence. Yeah, thank you so much, Sheeta. That was beautiful. Blessings. Everybody give it up. That was an amazing presentation. I want to indulge my folks to stay just 5 more minutes because we have a beautiful street spirit poem to share by our senior advocate, Ann Bradley. So if you just hang with me, we're going to close out this beautiful event by sharing a poem from an unsheltered woman living in Oakland. Her AKA name is Skinny. Her real name is Angel Brinston. Ann, are you here? Let's unmute you, dear.
Hi, I'm Ann Bradley, and I'm going to read a poem by Skinny, who is an unsheltered woman living in Oakland. The poem is called Think It Over Carefully. Every night I lay my head upon my soft by lonesome bed. I dream of making love to you and hope that it will soon come true. I need to know your inner heart, of all your plans to be a part. I need you so, I want you so. I'm always trying to let you know how much it hurts in every way to be put off from day to day. What are you? Are you made of steel? Why is it that you cannot feel the warmth, the need, the urgency, the passion you create in me? Playing games not for real, teasing will not fulfill. Enjoy the sport, but not the scare. To be admired, but nothing more. Who pays with fire will surely be burned. There is no hate like love that's spurned. There is no pleasure, joy, or thrill like tender love that is fulfilled. What and if you reach for your lover and they recoiled at your touch when you were wanting her oh so much? She freely gave for others' pleasure, but not for you just to treasure. Think it over carefully.
Okay, that was beautiful. We got some love stories going on around here.
Yeah.
Everybody for being here today. We will come back next Thursday. We have another event that's coming that is going to be just as great as the next one. So please join us. I want to thank everybody that was here today. Let's start from the beginning. Bennie Whitfield, our performer, award-winning vocalist, Azure McCall. We have Barbara Howard from BH Brilliant Minds. We've dropped places in the chat where you can continue to be connected. Cardboard and Concrete, Unhoused Artists Collective, who are just doing amazing work in the community, not just art, but they are also feeding people. Thank you once again, Anne, and please come back next Thursday at 11 o'clock for our next event.